Xahau, or the Xahau Ledger, is a smart contract sidechain for the XRPL ecosystem. It's a fork or a copy, an edited copy of the XRP Ledger source code. Xahau embodies all the useful, eco-friendly features of the XRPL, but updates it to the modern age while providing value based on incentives for network utilization and positive participation to support smart contracts and, as an extension, decentralized applications. The foundation of Xahau is built around 5 primary features. First, the XRPL consensus protocol, which is how both the XRPL and Xahau organize and validate transactions on the ledger. Along with the XRPL's decentralized exchange, transaction fee schema, and the inclusion of NFTs in a URI token format instead of the XLS20D standard for NFTs. Second, hooks. Hooks are bite-sized pieces of code, which are the format that smart contracts will take on the Xahau ledger. Hooks allows you to add rules to transactions that must be fulfilled before a transaction that is sent or received from an account can be finalized and approved on the ledger. Hooks originally was meant to be amended directly onto the XRP ledger, but due to the complexity of actually implementing it, the Xahau Foundation team and their collaborators developed and gave birth to Xahau instead. The point of Xahau was to operate as a live implementation of smart contracts for the XRPL without directly permanently altering the source code of the XRP ledger, and to be used together in conjunction with the XRPL. Third, Xahau brings a new native token to allow users to transact and pay for the usage of hooks, smart contracts, and the Xahau network to the validators or servers which host the Xahau ledger across the globe. This token is called Xahau with ticker XAH. The reason for a native token outside of XRP is to reward validators and support smart contracts without interfering with the tokenomics of XRP. Fourth is a burn to mint liquidity feature that allows users the ability to burn any XRP they currently own and exchange it on an initially matching one-to-one basis for XAH or XAH tokens. This allows the user to avoid generating a taxable event, as well as providing legal security for any endeavors which may bring external parties at risk/liability or damages. And it's a feature meant for enterprise usage, but it is still available to the public. Fifth and last is the Genesis Hook governance game. Xahau's Genesis account utilizes a hook or smart contract that controls the release of new Xahau, and this feature is governed by a governance game that allows up to 20 independently owned validators to participate. The whole point of Xahau and these core features is to provide fast, cheap, secure smart contracts for the XRPL ecosystem, supported by a compensated community of validators and developers. Development of Xahau has been conducted by a group that calls themselves the Xahau Alliance. They are 5 entities who all stem from the XRP community from different industry backgrounds, including XRPL Labs, who are now known as Zaman or Zaman, I don't fucking know. GateHub Limited, a cryptocurrency service provider that operates an exchange and issues stablecoins on the XRPL. Titanium OU, an IT consulting and infrastructure firm operating as Alloy Networks. Evernode Labs Limited, the developer of the Evernode smart contract project. Digital Governing OU, a corporation associated with a globally active firm for accounting, audits, and legal services. Thanks to the efforts of these 5 parties, Xahau will launch without any form of pre-sale or fundraiser and will be fully functional and decentralized from day one. What makes Xahau such a big deal is how it combines all the perks of the XRPL with new features based upon what the XRPL is currently lacking. Xahau does this by utilizing the XRP Ledger Consensus Protocol. This protocol is a consensus mechanism like proof of work and proof of stake, but improves upon the energy usage necessary to facilitate network transactions to occur. All this occurs in 4 stages. The first stage, the proposal. Every validator proposes a new set of transactions called a candidate set, which they believe should be included in the next ledger. This can include both new transactions and old transactions that weren't included in any previous confirmed ledgers. Second, the agreement phase. Validators talk amongst each other and review the candidate set that other validators have proposed in order to verify the legitimacy and order of the transactions proposed by the other validators. After several rounds, all the validators try to agree upon a single candidate set. Once 80% of validators agree upon a specific candidate set, the ledger is then finalized and closed. Then a new ledger is created based upon the transactions found in the finalized candidate set. All these stages occur over the course of 3 to 5 seconds to ensure fast settlement time for transactions. Validators also have the responsibility of creating a unique node list, or UNL, of other validators that it trusts by combing through the UNL of each individual validator. A consensus is made on the true accuracy and legitimacy and order of transactions in each ledger. Xahau will also come with a decentralized exchange available to trade on from day one. The decentralized exchange basically has the following main features. 1. Users will be able to create buy and sell orders by specifying the asset, the quantity, and the desired price, basically limit orders. The decentralized exchange will also have order matching. The decentralized exchange will automatically match new orders with existing ones based on price and quantity. Also, cross-currency trading is going to be available as well. So this supports trading between different assets using the ledger's native currency as a bridge currency. Users will be able to convert from one asset to the native currency and then to another asset simultaneously, all in one trade. So as opposed to inputting multiple trades to do this cross-currency transaction, you can do it all in one. And this will be enabled due to the decentralized exchange on Xahau having a pathfinding function. The pathfinding function helps users find the most efficient trading path when there is no direct market available. So this searches for the best sequence of trades to actually achieve the desired conversion with minimal loss due to slippage and fees. Feature number 5 is automatic order execution. So once a trade is matched, the decentralized exchange will automatically execute the transaction. The ledger's consensus mechanism ensures validation and adds the transaction to the ledger for security and immutability. Feature number 6 is obviously that the decentralized exchange is trustless and, as in the name, decentralized. Using Xahau's decentralized and trustless architecture, this ensures a high level of security for the users, as well as any developers placing their tokens onto the decentralized exchange. Users will also be able to retain control over their assets all throughout the entire trading process, reducing the counterparty risk that is always apparent when you're trading through a centralized exchange like Binance, Coinbase, or some of the more recently hacked exchanges like HTX. Number 7, with Xahau's decentralized exchange, you'll always get low fees and ultra-fast settlement times. You'll incur minimal fees compared to traditional centralized exchanges, and Xahau's consensus protocol will also allow for fast settlement times between 3 to 5 seconds. This enables near instantaneous transaction processing, In summary, Xahau's decentralized exchange provides users with a decentralized, trustless, and efficient platform for peer-to-peer token trading, offering features such as cross-currency trading, pathfinding for optimal trades, automatic order execution, and low fees. The platform aims to maintain user control and privacy throughout the entire trading process. Xahau, like the XRP-L, employs a fees charged and burned model, designed to safeguard against spam and bloat on the network. This approach involves charging transaction fee and account reserves in the native currency XAH or XAH, with all transaction fees being burned rather than redistributed to validators. While effective for ledger protection, this model has implications for Xahau's tokenomics. The fees burned by Xahau smart contracts, though they are relatively small, will be much more significant and variable compared to standard transaction fees on the XRP-L. This further emphasizes the need for a sidechain to implement hooks and smart contracts to avoid the inevitable interference in terms of operations, operational costs, and operational times due to the implementation of hooks and smart contracts. But with hooks and smart contracts on the Xahau ledger comes familiar technology as well that's been upgraded, and this is NFTs through URI tokens instead of the XLS20D standard. Unlike the XLS20D NFT standard that was recently introduced to the XRP-L, which relies on compressing NFTs into on-ledger pages, Xahau will use this thing called URI token objects. URI tokens, which is really just short form for Uniform Resource Identifier tokens, are an innovative way to represent and manage NFTs, their metadata, and ownership information within Xahau. These are first-class ledger objects. That means URI tokens are treated as on-ledger objects on layer 1 with a unique address that remains constant regardless of the current owner. Because of the format they come in, URI tokens are going to be lightweight and efficient. They support on-ledger operations such as creation, destruction, transferring between accounts, buying, and selling, and they'll interoperate easily with hooks. Though trading is currently limited to a single sell offer per token in order to simplify the process. URI tokens incorporate a built-in extensible metadata JSON standard and an optional digest field for hash-based content immutability. Developers will be able to choose storage solutions like IPFS or traditional web servers in order to promote flexibility. They'll also facilitate interoperability with existing NFT standards and platforms, fostering integration with the broader NFT ecosystem. And this is all to provide an improved user experience. URI tokens can be easily located by their keylet, which is their ledger address, independent of the current owner, so you can always track individual URI tokens easily and quickly. NFT metadata and ownership information can be accessed and updated through standard web protocols. This simplifies the user experience, enabling users to click on the URI associated with an NFT in order to view the details, including images, descriptions, and provenance. In summary, URI tokens, they offer a lightweight, flexible, cost-efficient, and quick solution for NFTs on Xahau that proves superior to its predecessors like XLS20D. Now, you can't talk about Xahau without talking about hooks. Hooks are smart contracts for the XRP-L ecosystem. This solution offers developers the ability to create and deploy smart contracts on Xahau. Implemented as a sidechain, hooks enable quick adoption and development, and automated transactions within the XRPL ecosystem, and provide an opportunity for the community to assess their implementation on the XRPL mainnet in the future. Hooks is a smart contract solution that's tailored for the XRPL ecosystem, offering developers the ability to create and deploy smart contracts on Xahau. Implemented as a sidechain, Hooks enables quick adoption within the XRPL and provide an opportunity for the community to assess their implementation on the XRPL mainnet in the future. Hooks has tons of benefits. Hooks are lightweight and efficient. Hooks make sure you get quick execution of smart contracts every time without compromising performance. Xahau's underlying architecture emphasizes transaction settlement and fast consensus. Hooks are a layer 1 smart contract solution residing natively inside the Xahau ledger. Hooks enables direct interaction with on-ledger objects, balances, and transactions for seamless interoperability within Xahau's own ecosystem. Leveraging Xahau's low transactions fees and high scalability, you can deploy hooks and smart contracts for extremely low fees, which is suitable for applications requiring fast and cost-effective smart contract execution. Xahau takes advantage of the robust security and reliability of the XRPL, and this extends to hooks as well. XRP Ledger Consensus Protocol ensures a decentralized network with consensus among trusted validators, instilling confidence for developers and users. Hooks is designed to be compatible with existing XRPL tools and services. This will facilitate easy integration of smart contracts into applications and seamless integration with other XRPL features. Hooks empowers Xahau accounts to be fully autonomous, allowing them to emit and receive transactions based on the logic of their hook, reducing reliance on external private key holders for transaction authorization, enhancing decentralization overall. And there are many examples of the kinds of functions that hooks could enable, including things like sophisticated escrow. When a hook-enabled account can hold any asset received from nominated accounts and only forward or return those assets if told to do so by a valid transaction that meets a predetermined criteria. Automated registry. A hook-enabled account can act as an automated registry and mint and redeem URI NFTs as evidence of registration or registration rights. Issued currencies could also mimic decentralized counterparty-free assets by being deposited into a self-owned account with a hook that emits the currency according to a disclosed and predetermined emission schedule. Xahau offers early access to an attractive smart contract solution for the XRPL ecosystem. Xahau's experience with hooks will actually help the community determine whether and how to implement hooks on the XRPL in the future, if at all. Xahau is secured by its native token, Xahau XRP, also just called Xahau with the ticker XAH or XA. The initial liquidity includes 600 million distributed to launch participants, plus any further liquidity derived from using the burn to mint feature. But for now, the max supply is uncapped. The emission schedule of Xahau basically works like this, because it's several features working in order to make up the total supply overall. One is through the XRP that actually gets burned and minted onto the Xahau chain. So Xahau's consensus protocol allows for the burning and minting of XRP on the XRPL mainnet to create Xahau XRP on the Xahau ledger. This process utilizes the import amendment in Xahau and the XRPL. The second way is through monthly balance adjustments. A portion of the XRP plus burned from transaction fees is reintroduced into circulation through a monthly balance adjustment. Each active user on the Xahau network can claim an increase in their account balance equivalent to approximately 0.34% of their average monthly balance. This emission is regulated by the protocol governance game, incorporating hooks, balance rewards, and the Xahau Genesis amendments. The increase is compounded at a rate of 4% per annum. The third way is through the monthly seat rewards. So these seat rewards incentivize active and responsible governance. An amount matching the total monthly claim balance adjustments is rewarded to the governance game validators. This mechanism aims to encourage participation in governance activities and contributes to the redistribution of XRP Plus previously burned from transaction fees. These emission mechanisms not only facilitate the creation of Xahau XRP, but also aim to maintain a balanced and sustainable ecosystem. The combination of burning, monthly balance adjustments, and seat rewards provides a dynamic approach to the supply and circulation of Xahau XRP while incorporating governance incentives all in one sweet, beautiful package. The principal source of Xahau XRP is from XRP burnt on the XRPL and then ported over to Xahau through the burn to mint liquidity portal. The Xahau protocol, through the import amendment, will allow an amount of Xahau XRP equal to the current circulating supply of XRP, which is approximately 52 billion, to be minted this way. This burn to mint liquidity portal is what really makes Xahau a sidechain of the XRPL and ensures the native token on Xahau is a meaningful representation of XRP. Now, the initial distribution is where you're going to get a lot of your FUD from. Instead of using burn to mint, the launch parties for Xahau, the Xahau Alliance, will be distributing 600 million Xahau through the Xahau Genesis protocol. And the split will be as follows. So 12 million Xahau is going to go to each of the 8 governance game validator seats upon launch. The network is live already. You just can't access it through Sum or Zeman or whatever they want to call it. 16 million additional Xahau will be given to GateHub for decentralized exchange stablecoin liquidity bootstrapping. So that makes sense. Another 160 million Xahau will be gifted to XRPL Labs, also known as Zaman or Zaman now for intellectual property. Zaman, I'm just going to call them XRPL Labs. XRPL Labs has carried the main technical and financial burden of developing hooks and Xahau. This additional distribution is for that effort. The last 328 million of the 600 million Xahau will be given to the XRPL Foundation to ensure the health of the XRPL protocol ecosystem going forward. Now, I want to talk to you about that monthly balance adjustment that any users of the Xahau network can actually claim every single month. One challenge of Xahau is the additional cost of deploying and utilizing smart contracts compared to basic XRPL transactions. On the XRPL, transaction fees are minimal, costing as little as one drop or 0.000001 XRP. That's a lot of fucking zeros. However, on Xahau, where smart contract transactions, especially those involving hooks, can be significantly more expensive due to the complexity, there is a risk of Xahau XRP being rapidly burned to near zero. And this could create incentives for users to hoard Xahau rather than actively use it to deploy and run hooks as intended. To address this risk, Xahau has implemented a monthly balance adjustment mechanism. First, transaction fees on the XRPL are minimal, But hooks transactions on Xahau can be orders of magnitude more expensive due to their complexity. Because of this, Xahau dynamically charges fees for hooks transactions based on their size and logic complexity to prevent spam and bloat. Users of the Xahau network will be able to claim a monthly balance adjustment against the protocol based on their average Xahau XRP balance, which will be computed since the last monthly adjustment. The adjustment is equivalent to 4% per annum compounded, or roughly 0.34% per month. Users claim this by sending a reward claim transaction to the Genesis account demonstrating their activity. I imagine this is going to be simply just pushing 1 or 2 buttons. They're going to make it very simple for the end user to do. The protocol, through balance rewards and Xahau Genesis amendments, increases the user's account balance upon receipt of the claim. Unclaimed balance adjustments will be forfeited as a penalty for inactivity, so you won't be able to come back months later and then claim the monthly balance adjustment reward for previous months that you missed. The initial rate will be sent at 4% per annum, but it can be adjusted through a governance game if deemed too small or too large in the future. This whole mechanism is meant to encourage active use of Xahau by allowing users to claim a monthly adjustment, injecting additional Xahau XRP into circulation. This helps mitigate the risk of excessive burning due to smart contract execution fees and promotes a balanced and sustainable ecosystem. The Xahau Genesis account is equipped with a hook responsible for controlling the emission of Xahau XRP. I've told you this. To effectively manage and adopt this hook in response to changing conditions, a governance arrangement is crucial. The lack of incentivization for validators on the XRPL mainnet has historically, and even to this day, led to a shortage of actively managed validators, highlighting the need for a sustainable solution that feeds itself. And the Xahau Foundation team think they found it. I want to break down the key components of the governance game hook for you guys, all right? So the whole structure is that the Genesis hook requires a governance mechanism for monitoring, amending, or replacing the hook as needed. The Genesis hook governance game right now is an incentivized mechanism designed to ensure effective governance of the Genesis hook. There are 20 seats in total on the Genesis hook governance game. Each seat is either controlled by a single Xahau account, which is a level 1 account, or a self-managing committee of 3 to 20 accounts, which is called a level 2 account. For each occupied seat, the protocol mints and distributes 1/20th of the total monthly balance adjustments claimed for that month. All right, so if a seat is held by a committee of accounts, the reward for that seat are split accordingly according to the committee's decision. So if you have a committee of like 10 accounts, for example, then you could split it based on the terms within the committee itself. So not necessarily every member of the committee holding that one seat, every member of the committee that makes up that one seat necessarily has to get an equal reward. Again, it's all up to the people within the committee themselves and what they decide to do. Validator rewards are also going to be linked to user activity, as they are actually derived from the claimed monthly balance adjustment total, so that makes complete sense. A UNL report, or a unique node list report, is generated every 256 ledgers, listing validators as public keys believed to have adequately participated in consensus. A Genesis hook distributes rewards only to seats corresponding to the validators on the UNL report. The governance game includes a reward mechanism to ensure trusted accounts are rewarded for running trustworthy validators. Rewards linked to user activity and distributed to seats help put new Xahau XRP into circulation, mitigating the risk of token liquidity issues from high smart contract execution fees. In summary, the incentivized Genesis hook governance game on Xahau establishes a structured approach to governance, incentivizing active validator management, and ensures rewards are tied to user activity, ultimately contributing to the circulation and stability of Xahau XRP. Many people wonder why Xahau chooses to use a burn to mint instead of the more traditional methods of cross-chain value transfer, like bridges or atomic swaps. And there's several existing mechanisms for cross-chain value transfer, but each has their own drawbacks. First, you could use centralized exchanges. Centralized exchanges offer opaque liquidity on more than one chain. Most users will use a centralized exchange to obtain their first coins on a new chain, and these are an important but ultimately centralized part of the ecosystem. Reliance on centralized exchanges is ultimately a centralizing factor in a decentralized ecosystem. Layer 2 bridges are semi-decentralized custodial lending or wrapping services. Locking up collateral on one chain allows the user to actually borrow against it on the second chain. Returning funds on the second chain unlocks the collateral on the first chain. These services are honeypots that attract exploits. Furthermore, they have a lack of legal clarity in many jurisdictions, including clarity on the legal role of the operators on the bridge and the status of the locked coins. Atomic swaps. If two chains actually support hash time lock contracts, then an atomic swap could be used to transfer value between the chains. In this protocol, two users wanting to perform opposite trades are match-made. Protocol ensures that either both trades occur or both do not. But atomic swaps, even though they sound great, they have three drawbacks. First, if the counterparty does not want to perform their trade, then the first party must wait the entirety of the time lock to expire before they get their coins back. Second, a critical mass of users on both chains must exist so that users wishing to swap can always find a counterparty wishing to make that opposite trade. Finally, if the directionality of the trading is generally in one direction, let's say I have a shit ton of tokens on Ethereum, but I don't have much tokens on Arbitrum to do an atomic swap, then I'm gonna be waiting years and years and years just to try to make this trade, if it ever even occurs at all. While none of the mechanisms are precluded by burn to mint, that is, all are possible features that could be brought onto the Xahau network in the future. Burn to mint is a native cross-chain value transfer mechanism that is immediately available and avoids all the identified drawbacks listed. Xahau's burn to mint allows a user with an account on the XRPL mainnet to clone that account on Xahau by cloning their address and their private keys, and then burning the XRP that they have on the XRPL mainnet through an arbitrarily high transaction fee, really just matching the amount of XRP you want to burn, and then minting a matching number of Xahau XRP into their cloned account on the Xahau mainnet. The amount of Xahau XRP minted is in response to each XRP burned and is determined by the burn to mint ratio schedule. So right now, the burn to mint ratio starts at a parity of 1:1. So 1 XRP burned mints 1 Xahau XRP for the first 2 million ledgers from launch. But after the first 2 million ledger entries, it slowly reduces and reduces and reduces until you can no longer burn XRP for Xahau. So after the first 2 million ledger entries, for the next 28 million ledgers, the burn to mint parity is reduced and completely stops functioning. After the 30 millionth ledger entry, burn to mint will no longer be a way to get Xahau or XAH from XRP. It will no longer be possible. Anybody wishing to convert their Xahau XRP back to mainnet XRP right now can really just do it by trading through a centralized exchange in lieu of any other technical solutions like bridges or atomic swaps or even a reverse burn to mint if the import amendment eventually goes live on the XRPL mainnet. And we've talked a lot of crap about why Xahau doesn't want to use the other methods of cross-chain value transfer, but I want to talk also about why burn to mint is such an excellent choice. Because burn to mint is decentralized, ultimately no party can block access to the burn to mint mechanism, and no authorization is needed to use it. For some users, especially enterprise users, burn to mint may be the only legal option available to them to obtain liquidity on the Xahau network. Both sides of the burn to mint mechanism can and should run on the user's own infrastructure. The user can burn their XRP on their own infrastructure and generate and submit an XPOP to their own infrastructure, and thereby also minting the Xahau XRP or the XAH token on their own infrastructure. Aside from being decentralized and censorship proof, this means that everyone, but particularly exchanges and businesses, can freely decide when and how much XRP to move to Xahau. They can provide their own liquidity to themselves on demand, on their own infrastructure, on their own schedule. This is also going to be a non-custodial way of generating Xahau. Burnt XRP ceases to exist on the chain on which it was burnt, so it ceases to exist on the XRPL. Because it no longer exists on the XRPL, the burnt XRP can no longer become someone else's property. It's gone. It can't be held in a trust, nor in a door account, nor in some sort of custodial or escrow arrangement. It's gone. Therefore, burn to mint is truly non-custodial, and there is no intermediary, there is no counterparty, and there is no centralized exchange. Burn to mint XPOPs also rely on the same trust mechanisms that secure the XRPL. In particular, validator keys and validator list keys. As a result, the burn to mint mechanism is at least as secure as the network itself against witness hijacking and tampering. In a traditional two-way bridge, a door account containing users' locked up funds is maintained by some set of signing keys or witness keys. This means that there are keys somewhere that could be used to gain unauthorized access to the door account and exploit the bridge by distributing users' locked funds to an unauthorized third party. By contrast, the burn to mint solution does not use a door account, and thus there are no keys and no locked funds to hack. Burn to mint is awesome because it gives every XRP holder, whether retail or enterprise, the option to transfer their XRP over onto the Xahau network and to use hooks and smart contracts now. That option will be valuable and useful to the extent Xahau's smart contract features mean the market prices of Xahau XRP will be higher than XRP on mainnet. The progressive halvening of the burn to mint ratio and eventual disabling of the burn to mint mechanism in its entirety prevents any risk that all the XRP may be burned in this way. Enterprise users may be better served using centralized exchanges to purchase the Xahau they need if the market values of Xahau XRP are the same as XRP on the mainnet. Then this would imply sufficient liquidity of each token exists to meet the user demand, unless legal clarity is your issue. Burn to mint is a novel cross-chain value transfer mechanism for XRPL protocol and proof of accessibility backed chains. The mechanism involves a value transfer primitive that is self-sovereign, that is secure, and avoids many of the legal and technical pitfalls associated with traditional value transfer methods. Its inclusion in the ecosystem adds a native, decentralized option to value transfer from the XRPL without a counterparty and without custody. The Xahau governance game ensures the active participation of universal node list validators and governs the Genesis hook controlling the Xahau XRP distribution. The Xahau governance game mimics the XRPL's social consensus approach with a decentralized UNL. Xahau, like the XRPL, is a public, permissionless chain where anybody can run a validator. XRP Ledger Consensus Protocol, previously known as Ripple Protocol Consensus Algorithm, chains rely on a robust overlap in validator UNLs to define the canonical ledger. If a validator does not trust enough of the same machines that everyone else trusts, they risk unknowingly listening to an irrelevant fork of the ledger. Determining the best UNL is a matter of social or off-chain consensus. And like the XRPL, any update of the protocol will be dependent on more than 80% of the unique node list validators supporting the changes in the same manner as the XRPL. The XRPL mainnet minted all of its XRP upon creation, but Xahau can't follow this approach. Its native token needs to be minted in response to the happening of predefined events like the burn to mint, like account adjustments, and like the validator rewards. It uses a hook on its Genesis account to achieve this. Hence, the necessity for the governance game. Like I told you before, there are 20 seats in total at the table of the governance game, and a seat is a Xahau account whose vote counts in the governance game. The governance game requires at least a top-level table. This top-level table is called a Layer 1 table or a Layer 1 seat. This table by definition only exists on the Xahau account according to the governance game hook installed there. A seat at the Layer 1 table may be filled by an account or may be empty. A Layer 1 seat may be filled by an account which has another or different governance hook installed on it. The seat at this table are called Layer 2s, and the table is called a Layer 2 table by definition. The structure is a self-managing committee of 3 to 20 accounts that collectively control the Layer 1 seat and its voting rights. Thus, up to 400 accounts in total may be involved in the Layer 2 governance game, depending on the mix of Layer 1 and Layer 2 seats. Layer 1 seats are filled or vacated by 80% vote of all existing filled Layer 1 seats. For Layer 2 seats, the committee of accounts that collectively holds the Layer 1 seat invites or disinvites new members up to a maximum of 20 or down to a minimum of 3 by majority vote, or according to whatever other logic or rules that the committee and team deem fit. No other seats have any control over the members of a Layer 2 table. Voting. Each Layer 1 seat has one vote in the governance game. For Layer 2 seats, the single vote of its Layer 2 table is determined by whatever logic that Layer 2 table decides. The default is more than 50% vote of the Layer 2 seat members at that Layer 2 table. All changes to the hook are voted on via the governance game. A hook change is only successful if supported by the defined percentage vote of all the seats. The regular vote is currently 80%, but for the increase of the rate of balance adjustment, it is 100%. If they want to change the monthly balance adjustment rate, everybody has to agree. Not a single person can say no. Not a single seat can say no. Which makes sense because that's something that affects the entire structure and base foundation of the entire Xahau network. The validators run by those participating in the Genesis hook governance game should form the foundation of any decentralized unique node list. as any seat that performs unreliably risks being voted out by the other seats. The whole point of allowing different types of seats is to encourage diversity of participating accounts without putting security in jeopardy in order to do so. Layer 1 seats are suitable to accounts controlled by significant entities that the community can trust, while Layer 2 seats allow for a broader pool of participants. But since their collective participation counts as one vote, their members do not overwhelm the trust that's placed in Layer 1 seats. The governance game enables up to 400 accounts to participate, rewarding their involvement in consensus through reliable validator operation, ensuring a robust governance structure for Xahau. Xahau will launch with 8 of the 20 governance game seats filled. 5 of the Layer 1 seats will be filled by a member of the Xahau Alliance, which is composed of XRPL Labs, who are now known as Zaman, GateHub Limited, Titanium OU, an IT consulting and infrastructure firm operating as Alloy Networks, Evernode Labs Limited, and Digital Governing OU, with the remaining being Layer 2 tables. One of these Layer 2 tables will be FYEO, a company offering code audit and review services on blockchain development, including software such as hooks. The second is a committee of exchanges, and the third being a diverse committee of XRP community projects, developers, and long-term supporters. There is no ICO on the Xahau network, and no funds are being raised at launch. The Xahau Alliance members have each independently funded their own development efforts. There is no communal funding, nor any pooling of money or resources for the further development of Xahau, nor is there any roadmap or Xahau Foundation or other centralized treasury. Any further development is wholly at the discretion of independent actors within the ecosystem. Xahau has officially launched, and Xahau will be available on Sum at the beginning of December of 2023. I am Andrew, the XRP Maximalist, and thank you for listening to the XRP podcast. Take care.